Circle, circle, dot, dot. Now you have a cootie shot. I'm sorry, you feeling a little bit sleepy? Well, that's because I actually gave you anthrax. Maybe if you didn't hog the monkey bars so much, I'd give you the cure. When the moon hits your eyes, you should commit a race crime. That's Italian. Hello folks, I'm here to shatter your worldview. You are probably a non-European, to which I say congratulations. Count yourself lucky to enjoy sunshine. But if you are European, a universal fact is known. Italians are super racist. Now, I'm not going to say they're the most racist people on the continent because that belongs to them. But if you were looking for a close second, you wouldn't be too far off by going to the country of the boot. Now, whether or not disliking black people is their worst quality is up for debate. I think the worst thing about those cretins of a people is how they don't shut the f up about food. Oh, you got to Naples to get the best pizza in the world. Oh, you got to Naples to get the best pasta pie. Shut up. Just shut up. No one cares. You people act like you invented the concept of eating. It's okay. Everything you make is just okay. It's not the most mind-blowing thing you can ever put in your mouth. That's heroin, and that comes from Iran. So take a page out of their book. Italy, make heroin. Italy, make heroin. But back to the matter at hand. Why are Italians so racist? Now, this may surprise you from your UK or Yankee Doodle standpoint, but Italy has never been a very diverse nation. And jaw-droppingly enough, over 92% of the population of Italy believe themselves to be ethnic Italian. That means out of 61 million people living in the country, 56 million of them are quote-unquote real Italians. As in, they were born, raised, and lived there their entire lives. And in spite of what some people believe, Italians are in fact just really tan white people. Let me repeat that again because some idiots actually believe Italians are black. Italians are white people. So, let me put this question to you. When you have a community that is isolated from the rest of the world in terms of diversity, and that community shares an entwined culture, art, and lifestyle, is it any wonder that they're a little bit racially insensitive, at least from our point of view? No, it isn't, is it? Great, I'm glad you're nodding your head with me. You're not allowed to have your own opinion. The reason I told you all of this is because I want to give you a little bit of context. I want to give you the tip before I give you the shaft. Because I want to delve into a very specific case. And unfortunately for you lot, it's about a football player. Alright, stop booing me. Stop booing me. Stop! I don't like it! Calm down, alright? It's not about the actual game itself. It's more of a byproduct of the game. You see, in Napoli, Italy, there's a long-running tradition called Carnival. Carnival is meant to be a celebration of Italian heroes, or more specifically, who you are inspired by as an individual. If Superman tickles your balls, then that's what you'll dress as. It's a pretty simple concept. Now, another important detail, Italy is a huge footballing nation, and boasts one of the most respected leagues in the world. Massive players from around the globe join some of these legendary iconic clubs, such as AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, Fiorentina, Roma, and of course, most famous of all, Napoli. So you have a national holiday that celebrates your personal heroes, and it's set in a mad football nation. With those two pieces of information in your mind, what do you think young boys are going to dress up as? Their favorite footy stars, of course. And currently, the most famous man in the entire scene of Series A is a footballer who goes by the name... a Nigerian-born striker who plays for the club Napoli, who's currently on the form of his life. So naturally, he's going to be a hero to a lot of kids. And naturally, a lot of kids are going to want to dress up as him. And naturally, it doesn't go the way it should. Ozzy man, I cannot play the audio for too long or I get copy struck. Ozzy man. Aww. As you can see, that is a young boy dressed up as his hero. Now, this is quite an old video and it sparked a little bit of debate when it first came out. But seeing as almost nobody's actually spoken about it, I thought I'd still take it on. The question I want to ask, is this racist? I know, a white guy lecturing you on what's racist. How very cool of me. But no, seriously, it's like a legitimate question on this. I personally don't think from the kid's perspective it's racist. Because he's a child. He has no concept of what is right or wrong. From the parent's perspective, yes and no. Because as we discussed, the overwhelming majority of Italians are just Italians. They have no concept of diversity. They probably should in Napoli, seeing as it's one of their major cities, but I guess not. So when they paint their kid in blackface and dye his hair a certain color, it's truly not out of a place of disrespect. If anything, they're trying to be as accurate to Ozyman as they can. Does that make it right? No, of course not. But you can't judge other cultures based on your own cultural perspectives. You can inform warn them of how this could be interpreted, but you can't force your will upon them. Now, just because I'm making excuses for the general Italian population, I am more than willing to go hog wild on one individual in particular, and that is Roberto Mancini, Italy's international football coach, who weighed in on the situation when the story first broke, being quoted as saying, "Where some see racism, I see only wonder. Sport is inclusion, and you kids are giants." But, my friend, my pal, my mate, you're not just some every average day Giuseppe. You are the head coach of one of the most influential teams in world football. Your words matter big time. I get the sentiment, but there was a huge push not too long ago where people were going down on their knees at the start of every game to protest against racism in all forms. By you endorsing this, by you saying it the way that you're saying it, you are endorsing literal blackface. It is not a good look for you, regardless of cultural context. As I said, we know that this was harmless. It doesn't mean it should be encouraged. You have insane amounts of influence on Italian youth. There will be hundreds of thousands of little Italians lifting their heads and looking at you with wonder, saying, "Macchini says it's okay if I put buck teeth in my mouth and I put on Chinese hat because it's out of a place of love." Look, to answer the question in the simplest way, why Italians love doing blackface or why Italians are so racist, I think it's very much rooted in ignorance. It's not very often that there's anybody in Italian culture who's famous with skin darker than their own. So when someone like Osimhen pops up, they're trying to show him love and support in their own misguided way, in my opinion at least. I can tell you this not for nothing, guys. If you are planning as dressing your child up as Osimhen for Halloween or whatever, all you kind of have to do is spray the hair and get a mask. It's already such an iconic look. You throw a Naples kit on top of that, everybody knows who you are anyway. Then you don't need any of this messy racism. I also want to mention for any Italian who could possibly be watching this and saying, "Hey, we're not that bad." Man, shut the fuck up. Just look at your government, dickhead. Italy is run by a very far right-leaning political party known as the Brothers of Italy, which is yikes for a name, and is led by a woman named Giorgia Meloni, whose policies are as follows. Yes to natural family, basically meaning no gay boys. No to gender ideology, which I'm not really sure what that means. No to Islamic violence, basically saying we don't really like Muslims. And a very, very strong yes to secure borders. Now, if you're gonna look me in the goddamn cold dead eyes and say to me, with this government who you voted into power, or at least the majority of Italians, that your people aren't actually racist, you're lying. You have kids walking down the street in blackface, the head coach of your national football team completely normalizes the matter, and your government is actively working against immigration and diversity. And as well, 92% of your population are natural-born Italians. White people with tans. Of course, I'm not saying that if you're a person of color and you go to Italy, you're gonna be attacked. Their noodle arms would crack upon impact of hitting anything. And I'm also not discouraging people from going to Italy, because in spite of its shortcomings, it's still a beautiful country. I mean, just like anywhere, it has its own unique specific problems. If I had to go back home to South Africa, I'd have to worry about the economy and being poor the entire time. Living in England, I constantly have to worry whether or not I can see a doctor. In America, goes without saying, bang bang. In Italy, you just have to worry about being a black person. If anything, that should make you want to go more, because like I said, they're very ignorant of other cultures. So maybe by being exposed to them, they might like you guys a bit more. Or maybe you live there long enough and you end up becoming the racist yourself. That's all I have to say, boyos. Legally, you have to subscribe. I can't get this tone very right. Subscribe. And I'll see you later, boyos. Bye bye.